Curious Blondes, intrigued by life. So last episode we started to talk about sleep, and we continue our discussion, our talk about sleep in this second part of the episode.
And so what about this idea of waking up in the night? So what do you do, Estelle, if you find that that kind of feeling of wide awake, your mind is racing? What do you do? What do you recommend?
Yeah, well, there are many tools, and of course, we already talked a little bit about that before this. But one thing that is really simple is really focusing on your breath. That's a really short one, and making that breath like the center of your universe. And that is like literally, and usually I help that with my hands, putting on my belly to get the breath deep and down and slow, and just focusing on the air going there, or your stomach going up and down, of your hands on your stomach going up and down. And maybe I can lead you and the audience to a small exercise which deepens that effect, because what I usually have is that because I'm so much in my head, then I'm not really centered, and I'm also not grounded. I'm like up there. So I do a visualization with this breath, and maybe I can lead you to do it.
Yes, I think that would be a nice little
Just
exercise.
a short one to have a teaser. So, of course, you can, in your bed, usually have your eyes closed. So let's just do that. And for this exercise, you can put your feet on the floor. And of course, in the bed, you have your feet in the air. But there's this other organ there on the bottom of your butt. I am always talking about your tail, your tailbone, and that's also usually good in the bed, and you can feel if you are lying in the bed, connected to the bed. And then we start to use the breath. So just first take a moment to follow that breath and see how much your hands move on your belly from the air going in and out. And if you notice that this breath is still quite high, it's okay, but then you gradually try to get that breath more deep in your belly and into that part, your tailbone, close to that area. And having this more centered in your belly, we're going to follow a little bit of a line, imaginary line, from the tailbone down to the earth. So imagine that the tailbone is going down into the earth, to your bed, into the earth, and maybe in the center of the earth where it's very hot and warm. And imagine that you use your breath to follow that line. So you breathe out, follow that line totally into the earth. And breathing in, taking that same line up to your belly again. And breathing out to the line down. And breathing in to the line up. And if it feels okay for you, you can also expand this with another line, maybe a line from your belly up to your chest, to your head, up to the sky in the universe. And also taking that breath out, up to that line, imaginary line, to the universe, to the bigger realm, and in, down to that line, to the belly. Up through the universe, through your head, and down through your head to your belly. And then in the last parts, you can do both. So you breathe in, taking the line down to the earth, and up to the line to your belly, and then in to the universe, up to your head, and down out to your belly. It takes some practice to feel this motion more easy, these lines. But this is something that's helpful for me. And let's come back to where we are here and now. And I apologize because my dog, I think he was on the background. I hope it's not too much
No, I
interference.
didn't hear him. I didn't hear him.
Okay.
I had the image that I was back in bed again, and I was thinking, oh yes, this feels nice.
Nice.
But I think you picked up on something very important there, Estelle, and that is practice. So it's not to actually use this when you're having problems, but to try and use this type of technique or these techniques also when you're not having problems. Yeah. And then it almost sort of tricks the mind into thinking, this is what I need to sleep. When you're feeling good, use the same technique. And then when you have problems, maybe it will come a bit more easier, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally true. Totally true. Yeah, and this is for me like yes, I did this many times, of course, and then it's more easy. But it's also what is available in that moment, and I think you also have a nice tool for us to experience. And I think it's also nice even to do this during the day,
Yes.
to practice this. Like you said, you already related that to going to bed. So making this more like a sort of dance from the day and the night. I mean, it's different, but it's also the same. I mean, we are still even in this different wake states, like awake and non-awake states. We are still the same person, and it's still running there in the background. So the more you can cultivate this, the more it will help you, and it will have an effect on all and always on all the states.
Absolutely. And I think, as you know, with my mindfulness, what I always sort of tell my clients is that you can use the breath, you can use breathing and different exercise and tools, and it helps with your sleep problems, it helps with anxiety, it helps with so many problems that it becomes part of your toolbox to then cope with the problems that you come up against. So the more you can practice them day and night, the better, I think, and actually enjoy practice them. Like you say, I love the way you say it's a dance. It's almost like, oh, great, I've got some time, I'm going to do some of this, rather than feeling that it has to be done as an exercise or something. It's something you enjoy doing, and you take time out to actually have a relax during the day as well. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe you can
I
guide us
can
in
indeed.
different kind of
So
exercise.
one of my favorite is a body scan, which is a very sort of basic mindfulness meditation tool. And this is useful, especially really in bed before you go to sleep, if you wake up in the night, or if you wake up early in the morning, or even just before you need to get up. I quite enjoy doing a body scan. And of course, again, the more you do these kind of exercises, the more you really get into tune with your body. So a body scan will be something that can take 5 minutes or 20 minutes, however long you want. But you begin to see where there's any areas of tension, where there's any problems and different things. And you really begin to know your body better, I think. So we're just going to do a few minutes of this one. So you would probably be lying down, but you can do a body scan in a chair like we are. So I invite you to put your feet on the floor, and if it feels good, just to relax in your chair with your spine straight and just lower your gaze or close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And take in some deep breaths. I always like starting a breathing exercise with deep breaths. It's almost like a signal to the mind that it's time to relax a little bit. And it really gets some oxygen into the body and really feels like you're changing the whole energy. And then typically with a body scan in mindfulness, we start with the feet. And the idea is to go through the different parts of the body and try and clench up the muscles and relax them all the way through. So we start with the toes and just see if you can really clench up the toes and hold the muscles clenched and then relax them. And then come to your feet and ankles, seeing if you can again clench up those muscles tightly, holding them tight and relaxing them. And then coming up to your knees and your legs, your lower legs. Again, seeing if you can find any muscles around there just to clench up and relax. And then your thighs, really squeezing up maybe your bottom, your thighs, really tensing up those muscles and then relaxing. And then maybe just both legs from your bottom to your feet, scrunching up all the muscles, tightly holding them as long as you can, and then relaxing them. And coming up to your stomach, squeezing your stomach tightly, tight, 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 and then relaxing. And sometimes we hold a lot of stress around this area, especially as women, around our hips and our stomach. So maybe doing it a couple of times there, squeezing tightly your stomach, squeezing tightly around your hip area, just holding that really scrunched up and relaxing. Then coming up to your shoulders, squeezing them up tightly towards your ears, really enjoying that stretch and then relaxing them. And then your arms, your elbows, scrunching up your arms and relaxing them. And your fingers, tightly make your fingers into a fist. Tight, tight, tight. And then relaxing them. And then finally your head and your face, scrunching it up tightly. Really tight. And then relax. Whole body relaxed. And that, what I sometimes do if I'm distracted, especially during the night, and I'm working my way up through the body, If I get distracted, I make myself go back to the feet again and start all over again. And this kind of relaxation is a way of controlling your mind and making it think through the different phases of going through the relaxation of each part of your body. So just coming back to the room. So yeah, that's a very favorite one of mine to
I love it.
use. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's I think it's a very um so me as a physical therapist did this, I think was one of the first that I learned as an exercise, also because we tend to not notice how um the tension is in our body. And by doing this, you notice, I already was tense, or I am not tense enough, and maybe I need to also address that because, for example, I feel that I have some problems in my back, and I felt, I've been not doing some exercises, so it gives some information about where I am, which I also
Absolutely.
like. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you get better at these type of exercises, you can include some things thinking about, how am I actually feeling? So when I scrunched up my muscles, how does that feel? Where am I? Checking in with your mood and different things. And really, yeah, beginning to look after your internal self as well. And I think that's something that perhaps people forget to do. I'm not saying it should be always done at night time, because it can be done during the day as well. If you get a little bit of time in the afternoon and you've been busy, just taking some time out and sitting, and you can have a really lovely quick body scan just to revitalize you as well, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, and these check-ins, I think, are crucial in general for us, our well-being in the day, like you said. And I think also it gives a part of that connection to ourselves, but also our connection to our environment, to where am I, and what is around me, and what do I need, but also what does maybe people around me need. Like, for example, now I'm petting my dog here because he needs some attention, but I can see the effect on me also relaxing. So just giving this space and giving this notice and acknowledging his needs, but therefore also giving myself support. And this awareness is something that, yeah, I think you grow with being mindful, and I call that more in the sense of doing check-ins. And it's all about, yeah, where am I, how am I, and what is the best for me right now and my environment right now.
Mm. And I
Um,
think another thing that's very important as well is this idea of gratitude. So sometimes, again, if you're not getting to sleep, so you've gone to bed and your mind is going, this idea of gratitude, where you can sort of, if you want to, just think back of some of the things that have happened during the day, but seeing it in a positive way. So not going to bed, going everything with a sort of an angry, sort of negative approach, but trying to think of the gratitude in it, what's been good today. And the same thing in the night, if you wake up feeling a bit lost, a bit sad, a bit angry, a bit anxious, it's this idea of seeing if you can make the mind more in a positive way, thinking of all the things that went well for the day or that are good for you at the moment. But the other thing in mindfulness that we'll discuss at another time is when these feelings come, is not to actually start dwelling on them. So if you have some anxiety, some anxious feelings, not to go over and over them, not to try and push them away, but to just try and sit with them, or in this case, you'd be in bed lying down, and just accept that you've got some thoughts, and just see if you can let those thoughts go. because in the middle of the night, those thoughts would be much more problematic than the next morning after a good night's sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's totally true. We have these ghosts in our these demons sometimes even in the night, right? And we which enlarge the problems usually. Yeah, and for me also, I sometimes I'm just say it maybe even out loud if I sleep alone. So acknowledging, oh, I'm angry now. Okay, I'm angry now. Okay, but I don't need to go into that. But just to say, okay, I'm angry now. It's not the moment to really reflect on the angriness. Maybe that's something that you can do in the night, and sometimes it can be helpful also, is my experience, if there's really something bugging you a lot, to take a moment to write something down, to just
Yeah.
have a small notebook and just have a highlight and just say, okay, this is something to reflect up in the daylight and not in the night. And then close it and go back to sleep, or at least to go back in that relaxation state, and being good for yourself,
Yes.
and being like your own parent, and say, in the morning you'll see it again, like
Yeah.
that.
And I love that idea of soothing. You know, when you have a child that can't sleep, or even your dog, you know, if you're soothing it, it wants attention, your child can't sleep, they've been crying. And that's what you do to yourself. You're soothing yourself. You're not irritating yourself by bringing up all the problems and thinking over in every little detail. You're soothing yourself because this sleep is like a medicine for you. You need this sleep. So you want to make it as special as possible. And
Yeah,
I think that's the important thing of sleep. It's special. Yeah,
it
we need
is.
it. Mhm.
It's not a treat. It's really our core, and our core need.
Yeah,
And yeah, I
yeah,
think that you're totally true in that. And the only thing that I was thinking of, that we didn't discuss, is like, as they call it, sleep hygiene, which is all what we talked about also, but really like a physical thing, like having especially sheets that are like natural material, cotton or silk, or having the room temperature not too high, also your clothes, what you're wearing, and
mhm.
maybe you have other things that you think of in that sense.
Yes, I always have the window open. I prefer to have some blankets, or in this case, a continental quilt or something warm enough so that you have the air. I find that very relaxing. Um, And again, some people quite enjoy a shower or a bath before going to bed. So that warm water, you don't want to go to bed either too hot or too cold. So it's quite important to have the right temperature to go to bed. And I think the more modern problem, this idea of mobile phones beeping away, you know, take them out of the room or away from you so that you're not tempted. And I've done it before, I'm sure you have, Estelle, where you're going to go to sleep and then half an hour later you're still scrolling through Facebook, and what do you know, you're wide awake and you've just wasted this 30 minutes of lovely, precious sleep kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a modern day problem, but we're all quite aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sleep,
the blue light, right? The blue
good
light.
night.
But
Yeah,
also like the Wi-Fi and even electricity, it still interferes in some level of our body. So, and some energy wise, like the Feng Shui also says that it's nice to have your head to the north, if
yes.
that's possible.
Yeah.
So if that's possible in your room, it's really the perfect way. And the other thing I was thinking of, is that, um, the well, now I forgot. See, this is my oh yeah,
I
like
love it. We're normal after all. We're not
yeah.
superhuman.
No, and it's really it's the mind, is an interesting part. It's so much more, since I'm in menopause. It's so much more uh, clear to me how much it's being. pushed by other things like hormones. So I'm not getting to that, what I was saying. But the other thing that was coming is that usually, like in this period, it's more sweaty, like you have these night sweats. I'm not so much in that, but many women have that. And so have like an extra shirt next to your bed that you can change, and no need to get out of the bed because of movement. Like movement in general in the day is perfect, but in the evening, don't move and go exercising very strongly, because it will interfere your sleep. I had a time that I was really doing my sports, really hardcore training in the evening, and I could not sleep more than 5 or 6 hours in a night in that period before I started to see, something is changing. What did
Yes.
I change? So it's always, again, in what time of your life you are, or what period or what season. It's adapting to what you need in that time, in what that situation, and creating that space and that nutrition around you. Like, have that glass of water, have that pen and paper next to you if you need it, take out the devices, have that extra shirt or the extra blanket, everything arranged like
Oh,
in reach, so you don't need to have a lot of movement, because if as soon as you do that, it's really hard. Even going to the bathroom, if you need to pee, go and do it. Don't stay and I can hold it for a bit,
no,
because
no, no,
usually you
no.
can't, right?
Yeah, no, it's not good for you. Yes,
No,
yeah.
no,
But
no.
actually, I think it's the thing about going to the toilet, then coming back and then just enjoying being back in bed again and thinking, right, that's lovely time to sleep again. Yeah.
Yeah, feel the coziness, and oh, it's so nice and
Yeah.
soft, and yeah,
And that's it, making sleep positive. I think that's the
yeah,
secret here. And as I said, before, enjoying sleep and not seeing it as the enemy, basically. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So would you like a little sprinkling of sunshine?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a little sprinkling here. This is an Irish proverb, and they say that a good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything. Well, I think I could back that up. I agree with that. Would you say?
Totally, totally. Yeah, yeah. Connection, and and laughter and joy, and and not making it too heavy, because in the night we really need to take
Exactly.
out the,
And in
the
fact, if
heaviness.
you think about laughing, when you really start laughing, everything relaxes, doesn't it, when you laugh? From your shoulders to your cheeks. And I mean, you might start crying with laughter, but everything seems to just go. And the same with sleep. Hopefully, everything relaxes for your sleep. So, yes, I like that Irish proverb, which is
Lovely ending. Lovely ending. Thank you, Helen, for that
good.
lovely and next time we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about um I think we didn't schedule one yet. Well, we have a lot on our list, but I can see some things. Let's make it an open end for now, and
Yes, a surprise, I think. And I think if anyone's got any questions or any suggestions that they'd like to share with us, we would love to hear from you. And we can always discuss things in our sessions as well. So, yes, can be quite interactive.
yeah, please do. That will be even more interesting. So thank you for all watching and or listening, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.